Hello students, welcome to Ayurveda. In today's lecture, we are going to learn about the subtypes of Kapha Dosh. So before starting this video, I'll recommend you to first go through my previous videos on Kapha Doshas. Then only you can understand this video properly. So let's get started. Kapha subtypes. So there are five types of Kapha Doshas, which are first mentioned by Acharya Vagbhat. This point you have to keep in mind that Kapha subtypes are first mentioned in Vagbhat Sahita by Acharya Vagbhat. The Kapha subtypes include Avalambaka Kapha, Kledaka Kapha, Bodhaka Kapha, Tarpaka Kapha and Shleshaka Kapha. So there are five subtypes of Kapha doshas. Avalambaka Kapha resides in Uraha and Trik region. What is Uraha and Trik region? This we will be discussing further. Next one is the Kledaka Kapha. Kledaka Kapha resides in Amashay. Bodhaka Kapha resides in Jivha according to Acharya Vagbhat mentioned in Ashtangridaya Sahita, and in Kantha according to Acharya Sushruta. So Acharya Vagbhat only gave one location for Bodhaka Kapha, that is Jivha, but Acharya Sushruta gave Jivha as well as Kantha as the location of Bodhaka Kapha. Next one is Tarpaka Kapha. Tarpaka Kapha resides in Shira and Shleshaka Kapha resides in Sandhi region. So now we'll be discussing each one type one by one. So first is Avalambaka Kapha. So we have already discussed that Avalambaka Kapha resides in Uraha and Trika region. Uraha means thoracic cavity and Trik region is the region between shoulder, neck and upper back region. As you can see here in this picture, I have already marked it. So the shoulder, neck and upper back region, this region is considered as Trik region in Ayurveda. And Uraha means thoracic cavity. As you can see here in this picture, thoracic cavity is said Uraha in Ayurveda. So Acharya Sushrut have give these two locations, Uraha and Trik, for the Avalambaka Kapha. We have already discussed in the previous lecture like how what are the functions of kapha in thoracic cavities and how we can understand that kapha dosh is located in the thoracic cavity, biological explanation. And in Trik region, what it does in Trik region means shoulder, neck and upper back region, the kapha gives stabilizing and nourishing effects over here. It provides support and firmness to this area. That's why it is called as region for Avalambaka Kapha. Okay, so in Uraha region, that means chest and thorax. We have already discussed that this is the main site of Kapha, and by Kapha I mean Avalambaka Kapha. And this region includes hearts and lung. In thoracic cavity, heart and lungs are also there. So Avalambaka Kapha plays an important role in nourishment and protection of these two important organs. And in Trik region, uh, it it refers to shoulder, neck and upper back region, as we can see here in this picture. So here also the stabilizing and nourishing qualities of Kapha dosh, especially Avalambaka Kapha dosh, it provides support and firmness to this area by the qualities of stabilization and nourishment. Okay. Next one is a function of Avalambaka Kapha. So there is a verse or shlok has came in Sushrut Sahita of Acharya Sushrut, which goes like Uraha Urahasta Urahasta Trikasah Sandharana Atmaviryena Atmaviryena Annarasa Sahitena Rudaya Avalambanam Karoti. So what this verse means? It means that the Avalambaka Kapha, which resides in or situated in the Uraha and Trika region, Urahastha Trika, it supports and stabilizes the Trik region over there, and by its inherent strength, by its Atmaviryena. Atmavirya means inherent state of inherent qualities of Avalambak Kapha. What it does, it by its own inherent strength at the same time along with the nutritive essence of the food anna ras sahitena, along with the nutritive essence of food or anna ras, what it does, the avalambak curve provides support and protect the heart or maintains the heart functions or maintains the heart. So let me erase this so you can understand it better. Okay. So what the verse says, it says the Avalambak cup, which is situated in chest, meaning Uraha, and Trik region, it supports and stabilizes the Trik region, and by its own inherent strength, by its Atmavirya, along with the nutritive essence of food, means Annaras, which is said in Ayurveda, Annaras, the nutritive essence of food, the food that we ingest, then after the digestion, it gets converted into the nutritive essence. So that along with that nutritive essence, this Avalambak curve support, protect and maintains the heart, which is called in Ayurveda Hruday Avalambanam. So the main functions of Avalambak curve is Hruday Avalambanam. Okay. So what we can understand by Avalambak curve? Avalambak curve ensures the structural stability of the upper body. So here upper body means the thorax region in front and trik region in the back. Okay. And proper nourishment and protection of the heart. The Avalambak curve is also responsible for proper nourishment and protection of the heart, as heart resides in the thoracic cavity, and it maintains the strength lubrication of thoracic region. It also maintains strength and it provides lubrication to the thoracic region, as we have already discussed in the previous lecture that kapha is the dosh which is responsible for lubrication of the entire body. And by modern correlation we can understand it by the structural support to the thoracic cage and shoulder girdle. The structural support of the thoracic cage and shoulder girdle is also provided by kapha dosh. Here is also we can compare by kapha dosh, and nutrient supply to the cardiac tissues is also performed by kapha dosh. Protective and cushioning role of the connective tissues and fluids around the heart. So the connective tissues and fluids around the heart, which does the function of protection and gives cushioning to the heart, this protective fluid or these connective tissues are also can be compared with the kapha dosh, especially the avalambak kapha. Okay. So I hope you understand what is Avalambak curve and how it performs or act as a supportive and stabilizing force in the chest. So moving forward, the next dosh is Kledaka Kapha. The next subtype is Kledaka Kapha. Kledaka Kapha location is Amashay. Amashay means stomach. As you can see here in picture. So Kledaka Kapha resides in stomach. Okay. Here function, if we see the functions of Kledaka Kapha, the shlok has came in Sushruta Sahita of Acharya Sushrut, which goes like Madhuryat Pichhilatvach Prakleda Datvat Tathaivacha Amashay Sambhavati Shleshma Madhur Shitala Sa Tatrastha Eva Swashaktaya Sheshannam Shleshmasthanam Sharirasya Cha Udaka Karmanam Anugraham Karoti. What does the shlok mean? So due to the shlok means that madhuryat pichilvat pichilatvach prakleda ditatva tathaivacha, means due to the sweet and slimy. Madhurya means sweet, madhurya means sweet, and pichil means slimy. Okay, so madhurya means sweet, pichil means slimy, and prakleda means moistening. So these are all the qualities of kapha dosh. By due to the sweet, slimy and moistening and cold qualities, the kapha resides in stomach, means amashay. And the next line says amashay sambhavati shleshma madhur shitala. So by these qualities, kapha resides in amashay. And the next line says sa tatrastha eva swashaktaya sheshanam shleshma sthananam sharirasya. So okay, let's understand it in simple language, that the kapha that resides in the amashay, the food that we ingest become moistened, soft and sweet in the amashay due to this Kledaka Kapha. As this Kledaka Kapha resides in amashay, the food we ingest when goes to the amashay, it also becomes moistened, it also becomes soft and sweet due to the presence of Kledaka Kapha, or due to the mixing of this food, ingested food, with the Kledaka Kapha, and remaining there by its inherent qualities, which is the second line, sa tatrasya eva swashaktaya sheshanam. So remaining in the amashay by its inherent qualities, means swashakti, it supports all other kapha sites, sheshanam shleshma sthananam. So what it does, the Kledaka Kapha remaining in the amashay by its inherent quality, it supports the all other kapha sites and the entire body by performing the hydration, lubrication and nourishing function. So here we can clearly understand that the Kledaka Kapha performs two major functions. First one is the kledan of the ingested food, and second one is the udak karma. First one is the Kledaka karma and second one is the udak karma. So by udak karma, it means nourishment of other kapha types, which is mentioned in the second line. You can see here, sa tatrasya eva swashaktaya sheshanam shleshma sthananam. This line means that the kapha which resides in stomach or amashay, it supports and give nourishment to all other kapha sites by its inherent qualities. So this means the udak karma. So Kledaka Kapha performs udak karma according to Acharya Sushrut. And one thing you have to keep in mind here is that the first kapha type that we have discussed, which is the Avalambaka Kapha. So according to Acharya Vagbhat, these Avalambaka Kapha, performs the udak karma. According to Acharya Vagbhat, Avalambaka Kapha performs the udak karma. Udak karma means the Avalambaka Kapha is the one which protects and gives nourishment to the other kapha sites, kapha dosh type sites. But according to Acharya Sushrut, Kledaka Kapha performs udak karma. Okay, so these are the points that you have to keep in mind for the exam point of view and also for the Viva point of view. Now let's understand what is exactly the Kledan karma of Kledaka Kapha. So Kledan means moistening of the food that we ingest. Okay, so what the Kledaka Kapha does, it moistens the food that we ingest and makes it soft and into a bolus form for proper digestion. So this is the first stage of digestion according to Ayurveda. And if we compare this function with modern physiology, we'll understand that here we are talking about the gastric secretions. The food that we ingest passes from the mouth through esophagus to the stomach, and there it mixes with the gastric secretions releasing from the gastric glands. Gastric secretion releases from the gastric gland in the stomach, especially it is present, the gastric glands are present abundantly in the fundus and body of the stomach. So as you can see here in the picture, this is the fundus and this is the body of the stomach. So in this region, mostly gastric glands are present in abundance, and these gastric glands secretes the gastric secretion, and by this gastric secretion the ingested food is moistened, softens and made into a bolus form. So these gastric secretion make the ingested food into the soft bolus form, which is exactly the karma of Kledaka Kapha. So here we can understand Kledaka Kapha by the gastric secretions. Okay, So Kledaka Kapha location is Amashay, and its function is two main function. First is Kledan Karma. Kledan Karma means making the ingested food soft and moistened and into a bolus form, so that it can go through a process of digestion properly. And second is the Udak Karma, means nourishment of the other Kapha sites, Kapha Doshas sites. And by Kledan Karma, we can correlate it with the gastric secretion in modern science. Moving on, the next one is the Bodhaka Kapha. So the location of Bodhaka Kapha is Jivha, means tongue, and Kantha, means throat. So Jivha is the location is given by Acharya Vagbhat, and Acharya Sushrut has given both of these locations. Okay, Acharya Sushrut has mentioned both Jivha and Kantha as the location of Bodhak Kapha. So if we talk about functions of Bodhak Kapha, the shlok came in Sushruta Sahita, goes like Jivha Mool Kanthastho Jive Indriyasya Saumyatvat Samyaka Rasa Jnane Vartate. So what does this shlok mean? It means that the Bodhak Kapha located at the root of the tongue, means Jivha Mool, and in the throat means Kanthastha, and also Jivhe Indriya means in proper Jiva or proper tongue. It enables proper perception of taste because of the cooling and gentle nature of the kapha. Saumyatvad means the cooling or gentle effects of the kapha. So due to this Saumyatvad nature of kapha or cooling and gentle effect, it helps in proper perception of the taste. And also Bodhak Kapha moistens and lubricate the tongue, so it allows the taste substances to dissolve, which is essential for the taste perception. Okay, and without adequate kapha, the tongue becomes dry and taste perception is impaired. So here Bodhak Kapha plays a very important role for moistening and lubricating the tongue, so that the food substances or the taste substances that we are intaking, they can dissolve properly and the taste perception function can be performed properly. So what the Bodhak Kapha does, it moistens and lubricate the tongue, and it allows the taste substances to dissolve. And without this Bodhak Kapha, the tongue becomes dry and taste perception is impaired, because the physiology, if we understand it with the modern physiology, so the taste receptors present on the tongue responds only to the substances which are in solution and not to the dry particles. So adequate saliva is essential for this process, and normal if the intake food is properly coated by the saliva, the normal taste sensation happens, and the continuous taste perception during chewing is also performed. So for this function, Bodhak Kapha is very necessary, and by modern correlation we can understand it by saliva secretion from the salivary glands. Okay, so I hope you understand Bodhak Kapha. It is located in Jivha and tongue, and it performs two major functions. First, it moistens and lubricates the tongue and allow the taste substances to dissolve, so that taste perception can be gained. Next is the Tarpaka Kapha. Tarpaka Kapha location is the Shir, means head. Tarpaka Kapha is located in Shir or head region, and locating in the head region, it nourishes and lubricates the sense organ. Let's understand its function. शिरस्तः स्नेह संतर्पणा अधिकृत्वाद इंद्रियाणाम आत्मवीर्येण अनुग्रहं करोति. This shlok is also came in the Sushruta Sahita, which tells the functions of Tarpak Kapha. So this shlok means that Shirastah Sneha means the Sneha residing in head, which is Tarpak Kapha, Santarpanat Adhikrutvat Indriyanam. That means it nourishes and lubricates the sense organs. The Tarpak Kapha, which is located in the head, nourishes and lubricate the sense organs because of its uncuttedness, because the kapha has guna of snigdhata, means uncuttedness, or it is oily in nature, and it gives proper nourishment, means santarpan. Santarpan means giving proper nourishment by its lubricating nature. So by the lubricating nature of kapha dosh, the indriya or the sense organ gets proper nourishment, and also it supports and maintains the normal functioning of the sense organ by its own inherent strength. Atma viryena. Atma virya means its own inherent strength. So Tarpaka, by its own inherent strength, it supports and maintains the normal functioning of the sensory organs. So the Tarpaka maintains moisture, softness and nourishment of the sensory organ, including eyes, ears, nose, tongue and sensory pathways in the brain. What it does, it protects the sense organs from dryness, fatigue and also from degeneration because of its lubricating nature. It gives moisture, it gives softness and it gives nourishment to the sensory organ, and we can understand it by modern correlation as cerebrospinal fluid. So Tarpak curve can be correlated with the cerebrospinal fluid based on its function, because CSF also performs the function of lubrication, and it is also protective in nature just like Tarpak curve. The protective nutritive fluids around the sensory organ can also be compared with the Tarpak curve. The protective and nutritive fluids which is present around the sensory organ can also be compared with Tarpak curve. So Tarpak curve located in the head region, what it does, it maintains the moisture, softness and nourishment of the sensory organs, and it also protects and maintains the function of the sensory organ and prevent it from the dryness, from fatigue and from degeneration. And we can understand it in modern science by CSF, or the protective and nutritive fluid around the sensory organs. Next one is the Shleshaka Kapha. So this is the last subtype of Kapha dosh, which is the fifth subtype, Shleshaka Kapha. Shleshaka Kapha resides in Sandhi, means joints. So Shleshaka Kapha, which is situated in the joints, what it does, it supports and maintains all joints by providing the lubricative or stability to the joint, or binding to the joints, which are the qualities of Kapha dosh. So function Kimi Sushrusahita goes like Sandhi sastu shleshma sarva sandhi sansleshat sarva sandhyanugraham karoti. So this shlok also says that Shleshaka Kapha resides in Sandhi, and situating in Sandhi, it supports and maintains all joints by providing binding, lubrication and stability to the articulating surfaces of the joint. As you can see here, synovial membrane is there, synovial fluid is there. So we can understand the Shleshaka Kapha by the synovial fluid. What it does, it lubricates the joint surfaces, it maintains a smooth movement, it prevents friction and wear, and it provides stability and strength to the joint, which are all the functions of Shleshaka Kapha, and which is easily be correlated with the synovial fluid present between the synovial joints or between the joints. Okay, so I hope you understand the Shleshaka Kapha locating in Sandhi, and we can compare it with the synovial fluid because of the similarities in the functions and also qualities. So that's all for today's lecture. I hope you understand. I'll see you in the next lecture, and we'll complete the remaining part of a Kapha dosh in the next lecture. Until then, keep reading and don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you for watching this video.